And now for our final presentation of the evening, we have Lois Blood Bennett, and her topic is Fractal Flames My Art.
Well, these first two slides tell a little bit about me before I get into fractals. I do a lot of different crafts, and I never met a craft I didn't want to at least try. I do some spinning and some knitting and some sewing. I've recently taken interest in arranging flowers and did a huge wedding this summer, which I will never do again. And here I'm weaving, and this is a very old picture. This fabric I wove to work on a project with Ann Gibson 20 years ago. She did the sewing. This is a little about fractals. What are fractals? It's math. This is a little bit about the math. It's almost nothing about the math. I don't actually know very much about the math yet. It's one of my goals. But this is my playground. This is not a very good slide of the interface of Apophysis, which is the software I use. It runs on a PC and also runs under Wine on a Mac. They're panels that let me control some of the parameters, colors, and such. And this is an image, as you saw on the previous slide. This shows the rendered image on the left and a Photoshop processed one on the right. And then here, the top image is how it came out of the software, and then I've processed it some in the lower slide with Photoshop. These have not been Photoshopped, but this is some of the color variation. This is using the same fractal, but changing the color parameters and letting me adjust the gradients. And you can see that there's a huge difference. And here's another favorite that's very organic looking. And again, it's the same fractal with some color changes, which I find very fascinating. Here I have made a series by just changing one parameter in an equation in the software, and it gives me just some subtle change effects that make a really nice series, and I've printed a couple of those. And here again is a series where I have tweaked a parameter variously, and on the right you can see I printed those up and mounted them on 8-inch square blocks. This is one of my very favorites, and I did it for a show. It was one of the first I had printed at spoonflower.com. It's stretched on canvas stretchers and printed on a yard of fabric. The image was 36 by 28. Repeated twice across the fabric. This is an enlargement of that. I was able to make a dress because the fabric came with two images, and I used one to make the front of a dress, which I wore to the opening that I showed this picture at. Here are a bunch more images. You can see the mind-blowing variations. Apophysis lets me choose a few different equations and to incorporate, and then I generate a bunch of random batches of images, and then I choose the ones that I like, and I process them a little bit, and I tweak them, and I find I am totally blown away when I see them, and it's why I keep doing them, because I find them so amazing. So you might wonder what I do with some of these images. You might have noticed that some of them are long and narrow, and that's because one of the things I've been doing with them is printing the fabric on scarves and fabric, and then making scarves, I should say. I've gotten really good at rolled hems on silk. It takes a long time, but I can do it. And here's some scarf designs. These have not actually been produced. I tend to use a certain size image so that I'm generating images that are good for scarves. All of these images also have been printed up on cards. I sell cards at the Cambridge Artists Cooperative on Church Street in Harvard Square, and I have really enjoyed the process of getting these printed. This is a picture, this is a kind of busy slide, but on the far edge to the left is an image that I had produced as a commission for a good friend, and I'm very excited about it. And this is one of my very favorite fractals ever, and thank you very much.